John, John, looking back to the Northern Illinois game, what went well in that game and what didn't go so well?
Well, I think a lot of things went well, or at least as well as could be expected from a young unit. I think particularly on the defensive side of the ball, to hold a team to 10 points, a pretty good football team that had had some success offensively and had a lot of veterans returning, to hold them to 10 points I thought was a great thing. Offensively, I thought Iowa State moved the ball very well at times. They did have some self-destructive things like penalties, a couple turnovers that really hurt them, but overall, they put up 27 on a defense with 11 starters returning. Some of those guys aren't starting anymore because they've been beaten out. But to do that against a solid football team that led the MAC in total defense a year ago, I thought was a real good start. So I thought there were a lot more positives than negatives, but certainly there's some things that they could build on and try to improve this week.
Looking ahead to Iowa now, the number 9 team in the country, a powerful offense, possibly the best defensive line in the country. How do you counteract that?
I think it starts with that defensive line. That is, to me, the reason that Iowa is a top 10 team is that front four defensively. They're so good that they make the linebackers that much better, they make the safeties that much better, the corners that much better. I think Iowa State has a good offensive line. I feel like they think their offensive line is a strength of their team. So I think you're looking at strength versus strength there. Maybe it's not the perfect matchup for Iowa State because, like I said, I think Iowa's front four is at a level that very few teams around the country are. But at least Iowa State has a puncher's chance up front with the group of veterans they have returning there. And if they can kind of hold their own, create a few holes in the ground game, mix the pass and the run well, I think it really improves Iowa State's chances of winning, as long as they're not making a lot of mistakes like they did here in Ames a year ago.
David Sims is going to return to the secondary. Iowa has a solid passing game, if not a above average passing game, obviously. Mm-hmm. Very talented receivers, very physical receivers. What should Iowa State fans expect from David Sims?
I think David Sims will play well. He did in this game a year ago. I think as a whole, the strength of Iowa State's defense is the physicalness of their secondary and the skill level of their secondary. And so I think that's Iowa State's bread and butter defensively. I thought the linebackers played exceptionally well in week one. I thought the front four, especially after going back and watching the game on tape, played pretty doggone well. They got some pressure, didn't always result in sacks, but they disrupted some things. They got their hand on the ball a couple times that led to some turnovers. So that secondary can only look as good as the guys up front. I thought the guys up front did their job last week, and the secondary played well, and as a result, they held a good team to 10 points. I don't know if it's possible to hold Iowa to 10 points, but I do think the secondary, with the return of David Sims, has that potential to get in and disrupt some things. Maybe force an interception, get another deflected ball. The other thing I think those four guys in the secondary can do is really come up and hit you once you make the catch, and perhaps pop a ball out here and there and come up with a fumble recovery. So that's my hope. If Iowa State can get a couple turnovers from their defense, I think they have a chance to win the game.
All right, John, thanks. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet.